So, well, that is about as much as I can do here. So, Henry, what were you saying about the future of SOD2 and the critical response pack that you were about to start talking about?
Right. So, we've done weapons packs before. They're not new, but they hit an audience, right? So, I actually want to talk about sort of the broad scope of updates, and then I'll get back to critical response. State of Decay 2 is doing great. It's a super vibrant community. You guys are out there playing, and there's a lot of you out there playing. So we want to sort of get into that. We're not. The product director is not a position that exists because we're planning on stopping the product. Product director exists because we want to do some cool shit. So the hope is that we will hit a variety of different kinds of updates coming out. Sort of working a little bit in tandem. So we've got some people working on this thing, some people working on that thing, and they'll come out kind of when they come out. But the first thing that we've got ready is definitely this weapon pack. Just because it's a thing that we can add that gives you a little more survival choice, right? State of Decay is definitely it's about action, but it's also about role playing. It's about the community, and it's about choice. And so one of the easiest ways we can add more choices to how you survive and how you feel like you're playing in your community and how you feel invested in those characters is by changing, what you've got, right? So new weapons and sort of new approaches to how you want to tackle zombies is it's sort of the epitome of choice, really. Plus, it's something that we can do without being held up by like, oh, we've got to test this all new AI feature, or we had to rebuild this section of the map to fix that issue, and so now we have to test the whole area of the map. It's low friction for us, and so we can use it to sort of drop an update at a regular cadence instead of being like, okay, we're going to go dark for like 3 months while we fix all the stuff until it's ready to ship again. Heartland was awesome. Heartland was a great experience for us to work on as a studio, and it also taught us some of the dangers of like talking about it and then like going dark for a couple of months and learning like, all right, can we get it done? How do we get it done? Are we going to ship? And then like flipping the lights on like the day we ship.
Right, because nobody even knew what Heartland was outside of the studio until literally the day that it dropped.
And that was great in some ways because it gave people a lot of suspense. It got people to tune into our E3 sort of trailer premiere. It was great. It was awesome, but it has drawbacks too.
Right.
Namely that like we couldn't talk about what we're working on, which actually makes things like streaming difficult. So going forward, we're going to try to just drop things as they're ready and be a little more transparent about what we're working on. So right off the bat, we are working on this weapons pack that's going to come out. It's definitely themed around critical response and sort of the idea of first responders and people in the police, people in the fire department who are first on site when something goes wrong. And these are things they might plausibly carry into an engagement like that. But beyond that, like, it's not going to be all weapons packs. That's just the thing we've got ready right now. We're not going to hold up anything else just because, like, oh, they can't have the weapons now because we've got to still work on this other thing.
Right.
So we're going to be doing a lot more incremental updates. We're going to be doing like, hey, this is an update that's ready to go. Let's put it out there.
Okay.
So critical response is the first thing we've got that's ready to go, and we're just going to do it.
Cool. Any teasers you can drop for future content, or?
We want to hit we have a wide audience that plays the game in a wide open way. It's a sandbox game, right? So some people are super invested in sort of the RPG aspect. They're interested in like, it's all about sort of, I want to really connect with these characters, and we want to have more content coming out for them. We want to give you more ways to customize sort of your attachment to the characters and customize your experience with the characters. That's a big thing we're working on, and we're one of the things they teach you in product director school is the phrase.
School.
Yeah, effectively is the phrase. We're not going to talk about that right now. So when it comes to details of character customization, things like that, we're not going to talk about that right now. But we are going to talk about it in the future, and you will see the fruits of our labors at some point, not too far down the road. I will say that we are looking at a variety of systems. Right, we've got people who really love that core gameplay loop. They want to get into that game and have it feel a little bit fresh, a little bit different, but really just go through the whole thing. And other people want to go for like, I really want to just play in a different way. I don't want to have it be like before, but with a new thing. I want to have a different way to engage with the game. The Zed Hunter update was kind of like that. It really sort of brought the focus around to noise and stealth and blood plague and sort of it gave you a different spin or an option to play the game differently. So content like that is content that we're obviously looking into. I can't talk about any specifics today, but we want to be able to extend the game for every kind of player. Heartland was a side story because, frankly, we weren't sure if we could ship it at all when we immediately dreamt of it. Someday we could see, more interesting side stories emerge that take place outside of the core game that give you a really strong narrative beat. It's really hard to put strong narrative beats in the core game just because it is so replayable. It's very much like Breakdown in that sense, where you're always seeing the same setting but with a different set of survivors. And so if we put the same story through every time, it gets really uninteresting. It becomes a nag instead of a feature. So Heartland is off to the side because you can experience it as a thing when you want it, and not every time you're playing through the core loop.
But that's not to say that we're not going to be adding more mission content or things like that in the future.
Yeah. The way I view it, State of Decay 2 is kind of just getting started. We've spent the past year sort of refining our process. Oh man, you're getting wrecked, Dan. This is a bad matchup.
This really is. Oh, and all those blood plagues. Oh my god.
Guns are loud.
They are.
They are. You should play stealthy. We gave you that option.
We did give you that option. We were just talking about the Zed Hunter pack.
But yeah, where was I?
Talking about new missions.
Yeah. So obviously, State of Decay 2 is a huge potential, right? Like, it's a sandbox with tons of hooks. And I think one of the things that people complain about is how we have obviously not gone after some of those hooks. That's fair. I'd say that, for the first couple of months after State of Decay 2 came out, we were very focused on, that publishing relationship, right? We were contractually obligated to, finish the work that we committed to doing. And that includes Daybreak and the Independence Pack. And then we started to sort of say, okay, some of the things that we had committed to, we can take a little ownership of. So like Zed Hunter, for example, was originally going to be a paid DLC. I don't know if we've ever mentioned that before publicly.
Maybe.
But we figured, like, hey, it adds something cool to the game. Let's see if we can take it free. And so we worked out the details and we agreed that we could do it, and we did it. But that was maybe the first time we'd ever really taken ownership of sort of the business side of the scales, right? It's like, and so Heartland was definitely another stab at, like, what can we do to balance business and product? And so we've been growing that expertise internally, and my position has been here to learn from all that stuff. So yeah, going forward, we'll see more updates. We'll see more stuff. And hopefully we'll begin to pay off all that stuff that we've left into the game as intentional hooks.
Yeah, hopefully.
I think that the next 2 years of State of Decay 2 could be some of the most exciting time yet.
I hope so too. Definitely I'm a gameplay programmer. I'm definitely working on a lot of little tweaks and improvements to figure out how we can make the experience smoother, and I'm really excited on hopefully being able to get those live sooner rather than later, because there's a lot of cool stuff, a lot of little quality of life things, a lot of actually not insignificant ways to just kind of change how you play the game, a lot of things that can't talk about until they show up in the patch notes, but definitely really excited to just kind of keep getting stuff out there and keep this game fresh. So you were talking about the.
Oh, hang on. I'm gonna. I see chat here has picked up on the fact that I said 2 years very loudly. Yeah, that's an approximation. I'm not going to be like, yeah, well, we're definitely going to ship something on that date 2 years from now, and for sure. But I mean, it's sort of the roadmap, right? It's the plan. Part of being a small studio is that the plan sometimes changes, right? Like, that's where the balance is right now for me personally, as sort of like I'm trying to plan out 2 years, because doing everything sort of like 1 month or 2 months, like, what do we got right now? It doesn't lead to a cohesive product at the end, right? You get a mash of like, oh, here's the quick thing to do. Here's the quick thing to do. So my job is to plan out like a year or 2 years in advance. Now, whether or not all of that comes to fruition, can't be certain. One of the other things they tell you in product director school is that you're not supposed to make forward-looking statements. So here's a caveat for all you watchers out there. I am not committing to any particular course of action, and you should certainly not base any financial investment on Microsoft, our parent company, based on the performance that I am indicating of our game. That's a thing now, by the way. We can't talk about specifics for a lot of reasons, but part of it is that we are owned by a large publicly traded corporation. And there are literally people whose job it is to scour content on the internet to figure out, like, does that give me an inside view into the operations of that large multinational corp? And if so, should I buy 50 million shares right this second?
I'm actually
so-
terrified of this
Yeah.
because I don't want to be that dude who accidentally ruins Microsoft's entire investing strategy by letting slip one stray
so
tweet.
that's one of the downsides of being owned by a giant multinational corp is that, like, we're supposed to be super careful about and cagey about what we say and never make future-looking statements. So again, I'm not committing to 2 years, but I'm saying that I'm thinking about what's happening over the next 2 years, and I hope that it all comes to fruition.
So speaking of things that you may have to be cagey about, what about? Well,
love
you
it.
didn't give me a list of things not to say
That's
or
true.
not to ask about. So what's the overall plan with Game Pass? Because Microsoft's making a big focus on that. You saw
Yeah.
a lot of that at E3, and we've got Heartland on Game Pass. So what's the deal with that?
Well, as a customer, Game Pass is freaking amazing. Game Pass is the best value out there because, like, for, you know, as I'm paying more, I think, for Netflix and Hulu than I am for Game Pass.
Yeah, seriously.
And the amount of hours I spend on video games, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
It's a huge value. We are owned by Microsoft, which means that we are a first-party studio, and our content is always going to appear on Game Pass. That's just kind of the deal. Microsoft Studios and Game Pass are like that. And that's been pretty great for us. It's still a little open what it means from a business perspective, right? Because, like, obviously, we would love if everybody paid full price for our game, but that doesn't mean that you get the most users. And really, like, are you a programmer or are you, like, a code artist? Let's be honest. Like, we're artists here, right?
Yeah.
Like, we want our stuff to be in front of as many people as we can put it in front of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, we want an audience.
Yeah, if I were just a programmer, I would still be working on back-end services, making tiny little applications to pick up files, transform them somehow, and then put them elsewhere, which was not the most fulfilling 2 years of my career, but I made a bunch of money.
Yeah,
So.
and I've heard that you can make a ton of money doing, like, little ticker tape that scrolls across the bottom of Bloomberg news feeds and
Yep.
stuff. And it's like, okay,
Yep.
great. But no, we're in this because we love video games and because we want to make cool stuff. I almost cursed again on the stream. I've already done it once. This is an M-rated. Oh, it's an M-rated stream, right?
I
Because
think
it
it's
is.
an M-rated
we're an
stream.
M-rated game. I
Yeah.
can curse all the fuck I want. That's fabulous. Yeah. So where was I going with all this? Game Pass.
Game Pass, yes.
Yeah, so Game Pass is great because it grows our audience, right? Like, we have seen continual audience growth ever since we've been on Game Pass. We've got new people trying our game every day, and we get feedback from them. They're like, you see Reddit posts or you see people in Discord being like, hey, you know, I never really thought to try your game because I don't really like zombie games or because, you know, I like first-person shooters or something. But hey, I got into it because it was, you know, just there on Game Pass and I could just download it and play it. And it was great.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Brant! Now Brant's telling me I'm not allowed to curse on stream. Sorry, Brant. Sorry. Very bad. My fault.
Nice. Quite a comment, wow, from 6 minutes ago, because I'm far too interested in talking with Henry that I am actually managing the stream chat. Yes, that might have been a classic revolver, but we're going to talk about the new weapons coming up very soon. If you're paying attention, you're getting a little sneak peek, but nothing you're not going to find about in, you know, the next 2 to 5 minutes.
Yep. Yeah. We've got Dan here, and he's going to go through a whole bunch of this content that we want to drop on
All
the
of
next
it.
update.
Yeah.
Not all of it.
Everything.
Oh,
All
yeah.
secrets revealed.
All secrets revealed.
Almost.
All secret revealed at the end of this stream. No.
Almost. There's one big thing that we're going to be holding in reserve, but until then, we can show you the weapons. Were you more or less out of things to say? Can we move?
I mean, we can move on.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to be around for the Q&A later too. So, like,
Cool.
let's look at the stuff.
There's plenty of time to talk.
I'm
so.
going to put this on the driver cam. We also had a question of whether or not this is on the Xbox One X. This is actually running on one of our PCs. This is our PC build of the game, so the thing you can download from the Windows Store and do that
Yeah.
thing.
We're playing it with a controller because that's Dan's preferred way to go, but definitely your choice.
Oh, was it? I thought you played keyboard and mouse, and we just couldn't actually get it set up.
No,
for...
we're all good.
Okay. Cool.
It's all good.
I know that the last time I tried playing this on stream and was forced to use a controller, this was actually with Jeffrey's main account, and I wound up trashing his entire community because I can't shoot on a controller worth a damn.
It's all good. So
Sorry,
we got-
Grant. Worth a darn.
So we got an assortment of law enforcement-based weapons. You know, cool stuff that civilians can't get a hold on before the apocalypse, but now it's the apocalypse. And so now we have, right now we have the police sniper rifle. I'm just looking for a target.
Oh yeah, you've been killing all of them, haven't you?
We got into some mess if you've been watching the stream. Had a couple jugs, had a feral. So I started with the 590. This is it's like SWAT type close quarters shotgun. It's got a real tight choke. If you guys were watching how it was shooting, which means not a lot of spread, so it keeps the shot focus on it. This also has a choke on it, so that's probably contributing to that. Yeah, let's go find some zombies, you guys.
Yeah. Have I seen that jacket before?
We might have some new outfits.
Huh.
There's some new stuff that I've noticed too. But okay,
'Cause that's a real
found
cool
them.
jacket. Cool.
That
And
was-
they have found you.
Oh yeah.
It's really good at doing what a shotgun does.
Yeah.
So that's the 590. Let's see what we got. We also have the high angle rescue hatchet.
I was just gonna comment. You've got that shiny red fire axe on you.
Yeah, it's got a cool look to it. That, I'm surprised we didn't have one already, but let's get this guy over here with no arms.
Yeah.
Well, that can't
That's
possibly go wrong.
that's
Rude.
Generally, you're supposed to shoot those guys from far away so they don't start
Yeah.
screaming, but
It was effective. It worked.
whatever works.
Yeah. Play your way. That's the whole point.
So I get back to the vehicle, maybe dodge that horde, get some more activity. I was also using the new MP5 SD.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sister gun to one of our old Echo guns. We had some requests for the classic edition, so we offered that up, and it was also fit the theme of the law enforcement pack, so that's also available.
Nice.
And then yeah, we have. Can I change people out in the yard?
No, you gotta
Literally
get
be inside.
actually into the
Okay.
base.
Okay.
You might actually just be like 10 feet off.
Yeah.
I don't think the actual walls are what counts. Whenever the box in the upper left pops
So
up,
yeah, we got the
so-
backup Bossy.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's a 9mm 7-shot revolver. So it's a good option for those revolver fans out there.
Nice.
9mm versatility. And we got the police baton. The metal nightstick.
Yes.
So it's got a cool vibe to it. Let's see. And then the other one I used, was the MP5 kit.
Oh, nice.
And then we also have the military riot club. So get all your thumping needs. And the black version of the MP5 SD, as I mentioned.
So we've actually got a question about when do we get a rocket launcher. Kevin,
Get
if
a little
you-
ahead here.
We've got some grenade launchers. That's probably the best you're gonna get for the short term. If you're looking for any sort of high incendiary, large explosive stuff fired from a barrel, rocket launchers may be coming. But we've also got a question about whether or not we're ever going to get an LMG. No comment. There's plenty of stuff that we would like to add, but hypothetically.
There's also a police knife for
Oh,
close
nice.
combat that you can get a hold of. There's a police riot club. And then this RC9 police carbine. It's another 9mm semi-auto carbine. So, again, trying to get the versatility out for the community for, hey, I have a stockpile of this type of ammo, and I need something that does this kind of job. You have those options. So.
Nice.
And I wiped out the population of zombies in this area. Sorry for the holdup, guys.
We do have some outposts somewhere that you might be able to drive to.
Yeah.
Although I think if you switch a character while you're at an outpost, does it teleport you back to base or does it bring the survivor to you?
I wonder
We
if you
changed that
I
at
think
some
you,
point.
don't you go
Yeah.
back to
I know we changed it at some point, but I can't remember if it used to be one and then it's the other, or vice versa.
Let's learn together.
Yeah, let's learn together.
Found this pretty clean, good condition police cruiser to fit the theme.
Nice.
But yeah, we appreciate you guys responding to the World War II pack as well as you did, and we thought it'd be cool to keep those types of things coming. And as Henry mentioned, we got lots of other plans in store, but yeah, just appreciate the support, guys.
Yeah. So we've got a question that was less of a question, more of a directive from Wonder. Dan, why are you the one showing us these guns? What is your connection?
I
all this?
make a lot of the guns.
Nice.
I work with Brant and Mark Lautenbach, and we get a lot of the weapon content done for you guys. We're enthusiasts of zombie survival and firearms and weapons and melee weapons and crossbows, and so we thought we'd bring that content to you guys. You get to see some of the police baton.
Nice. I'm a big fan of our blunt weapons. They're just so satisfying to hit with.
Yeah, our animation team and audio team do some great work for that stuff. Looks like I overshot.
Oh, so we got a question from Mixer. What is the actual count on all of the different kinds of guns we have? I know the menu that we have in development mode to cheat in new guns has gotten to the point where the text is small enough that I actually have to squint to read it. I don't know the actual count, though.
Yeah, I don't know either.
That's a good question.
I think we're probably scraping low triple digits.
Yeah, there's the number 120 to 150 comes to mind, but that might include everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is one of the great things about having, sort of randomized loot tables and having all these different delivery mechanisms is
Yeah.
that we don't have to hand place every single new thing in one specific spot on the map, so we can support a pretty wide variety. I mean, at some point we might reach saturation, but I feel
Right.
like there's still definitely an audience that thirsts for new specific weapons.
Yeah. Yeah, and judging from response in chat, people seem pretty excited about some of these new police and firefighter themed things.
Excellent. Glad you guys like it.
We've also got a question. How many of these new weapons can you attach a suppressor to for our Nightmare players?
Oh. I think almost all of them, unless, obvious, like, I think shotguns have chokes and, but yes, the rifles, the pistols.
Whoa, did it?
Oh no, I think
I got
I
a
locked
nice,
up on you.
I got a nice freeze here.
Uh-oh.
That's unfortunate.
Pay no attention.
In a target-rich environment.
It is a target-rich environment.
Yeah, I think I'm
I think you're locked up.
borked.
If you give it another few seconds, we actually have like an internal crash reporting system, and sometimes if it detects an error, then it will spend a good 20 seconds trying to figure out how it wants to tell us that there was an error. But worst case scenario, we might have to alt-tab and fix this. So yes, let me
reveal the desktop.
let me switch away from that. Hi, we're not going to show anything terrible, so you might just Alt F4 out of, or yeah, Alt. Sorry, tab back.
I'm an artist. I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, we can just do this. I think will that relaunch the thing?
Maybe. Thought it would.
Uh-oh.
Oh no. Run complete.
Run complete. There's a progress bar.
we're
There's a
going.
progress bar. All right.
I think something's happening.
It says
well,
it's processing.
I'll get back to some of the stuff that scrolled by in chat
Oh, yeah.
earlier. Let's see. We had people asking questions about specific future details.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, someone wants to know if we've been scanned into the game. I have not been scanned into the game.
I have been. We're going to put it on interview cam because we're talking right now. I have been, but rather, my face was scanned and it has gone into our enormous database, but we have a lot of faces. So I don't think I'm going to be getting in anytime soon, but hopefully for the future.
All right. While Dan gets back into the game still.
Almost there.
There are a couple questions about tethering, which is always a fun topic.
Yeah.
I can't promise anything because it's a technical limitation.
It is.
We are working with an engine that we did not build in-house, and there's some things we just can't change. That said, there are also bugs. The game has bugs, we know it. And some of those bugs are around tethering, and we are trying to crack down on them and really squeeze it into working the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
So no promises about any specific dates or like, oh, that patch is gonna whatever. But the hope is that we will get it to a point where it is no longer this annoying kind of like unexpected event, and it's something that you can actually like play around intelligently.
Right.
That's the goal.
All right. I'm going to put this back, focusing on Dan.
All right. So the question about suppressors.
Yeah.
We have this new G34 pistol. It's a little longer sight radius and a little more focus on accuracy, but it also has a lot of the mods you'd come to expect on weapons like this. Zip.
Nice.
Oh, she's angry.
Uh-oh.
Nice.
So that's that, and then the military ride club.
That is a hefty piece
Yeah.
of equipment.
It really is.
Yeah, so we just try to work on things that, if somebody were to raid, I'm not saying doing this at home, kids, but if someone were to raid a armory, law enforcement armory, or what kind of gear would they find? And these are, the types of pistols are pretty popular. Let's see. I don't think we've checked out Jeff yet.
What?
What? Geoff, I mean.
Yes, Geoff.
Yeah, Geoff's got some good kit too.
So we've got someone asking about fast switch between two ranged weapons. That is high on my list and
Yes,
on
that would be awesome.
others in the studio, but it is a question of what resources we can direct at what problems, and so we cannot commit at this time to any future features or improvements, otherwise that will get shot.
So
Yeah.
all you folks that like the MP5 so much, we have this UMP, which is the 45 caliber Big Brother.
Whew.
It's got some,
That's some stopping power.
yeah, a little bit of stopping power. Oh geez,
Handle that ferrule like it was not a problem at all.
yes. Let's get that magazine in there. So it's a pretty good bit of kit. These are popular with SWAT teams, and it's a lot of fun. And then yeah, we can get some suppressed action on here. So, and it's got a little optic on it, so you get a little touch of zoom. So it's good. It's a good setup. And then, how are we doing on time?
It is 2:33.
Yeah, we
Okay.
got plenty of time.
We got plenty of
Cool.
time. So if you want
So-
to keep showing off weapons, or if we want to turn.
Well,
this
I just wanted to
purely
make sure that I was
Q&A.
getting through it, and then
Yeah.
we can just go
Ah,
go all out.
let's see. What
And
kind
focus
of
on
what kind of mission?
focus
could
on
we
the
possibly
questions.
have? Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the answers to the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to actually touch back on the thing that you were just talking about, Jeff, which is weapon switching and
Yeah.
how it's sort of a resource limitation. Like, what are we going to work on next?
Mhm.
Touching the controller and the controls, like I don't know if you've noticed, the inventory screen already has a lot of buttons already mapped.
Oh, yeah.
It is, it's full up kind of in a way.
Yeah.
And so we don't want to just be like, oh, let's add yet another button on that thing. It's kind of at its breaking point. So there are some things that we can drip feed, like new content in the game, like new weapons that can just go out any time. But doing another pass on sort of controls and usability and just kind of like getting the UI layout to make more sense and things like that, that's a bigger ask. So we don't want to do that piecemeal and just like jam yet another button on there. We want to get it right.
Yeah.
Because if it becomes like the 7th button on there and it's like 2 people find it, and everyone else is like, "What happened when I pressed that button? I don't know, where'd my weapon go?" Not great.
Yeah,
So
we also have, like you were saying, we have a lot of buttons mapped. There's actually a lot of combat features that the average player just never finds out about. Like, for example, when you get particularly good in, I forget which shooting subspecialization it is, you have the option to just kick a zombie away that's in your face while you're aiming down sights. And some people pick that specialization and then just somehow never figure out what button to press. We have analytics on this. We are taking a lot of gameplay data, so we can figure out how people are playing the game, and also trying to figure out how we can kind of adapt to that and figure out how to make things better.
Watching the show over there.
Yeah, make things better for everyone involved. So we are definitely paying attention to how many people find an ability, and then how many people are actually using it once they have gotten it.
yeah, it's sort of a secret and sort of not, but we have a lot of anonymous telemetry on like what players are doing.
Yeah.
We can tell you like how many people found this weapon, how many people equipped it, how many people modded it. We can tell you like how long it took people to complete a mission. We can tell you if you chose to abandon the mission. So we get all these incredible amount of depth and stats on how people are playing the game. So going forward, we're hoping to really use a lot of that to sort of like double down the investment on the things that, are like, oh, everyone thinks that's cool? We never thought about that, but like we can totally build that out. So we have the hooks. So the hope is to sort of like take the actual player behavior. I love that siren.
It's great.
That's a great effect. To take the player behavior that's out there and really like sort of double down on it and like see how the community engages, what the features are that they love, and just kind of go from there.
Speaking of features that people love, we've got a request to show off that sniper rifle again.
The rifle I just had.
Yeah, I think.
So
Cannot get that zombie off the trunk, huh?
Well, it's not like a zombie on the trunk has hurt anyone in particular.
also due to popular request, we had a revival of another previous Echo weapon that we had. So we got the
So
Oh, you
we've got-
glitched.
So
Yeah.
I actually had Brent just kind of come in and whisper in my ear. We're going to switch away from the camera a little bit as soon as Dan gets out of combat here, because we are going to cheat and make it dawn so that we're not about to make it impossible for you to see all of
That
the
would
cool
be
new
cool.
stuff that we're trying to show you.
Let me get to the new hideout.
Cool. And then we've got a request to show off a little bit more of the close quarters weapons.
I mean, I'm inside, so is this?
Yeah, cool.
That should be fine.
So I'm going to turn this over to Mecam.
All right, I'm gonna lean out over here and just kind of.
Do you got it?
He's gonna hack into the mainframes.
ULTOD, I think 600 is the good value.
Let's see what that did. Can you? Oh, that was.
Escape, I think, will bring it back.
Maybe. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, all right, there we
I
go. It's
moved the
daytime.
sun.
It's daytime. So, close combat weapons, all the knives and screwdrivers and whatever we've got.
So to fulfill the request of the rifle that I have here, so this is the more the SWAT focused 416, which is a rifle that we had the sister rifle with the Echo, kind of like the MP5 treatment. It doesn't come with a suppressor, but you can always add one. But it's kind of heavy, but it's a little bit more durable. And it's good for zapping zombies. Oh, if you could shoot straight. So we want some more of the close quarter stuff. So we got the police baton. We have the metal military.
Yeah, so the grapple kills, or the stealth kills,
Yeah, we've got the. There's a whole set of close quarter weapons that we're adding too, right?
yeah.
Yeah, we have a police knife. Again, I use mouse and keyboard at my desk. How do you do the?
Yeah, on keyboard, I know it's super easy because there's actually
you've got a keyboard. If you want to try.
yeah, if you lean all the way forward.
Oh, if you're gonna take the awkward position here,
Yeah. And if you're doing that, then I'm gonna take the camera off of you because that would involve you leaning your face right up against the camera so you can do the keyboard and mouse.
let's see.
Sir, that was quite rude. We're trying to figure out the controls here.
Yeah.
Yep, that works.
Nice. So we've got a question about when can we recruit survivors from previous communities. Right now, the only way that you can do that is when you are starting a new community after having completed an old whatever it is,
he's got
legacy arc
good
on a
radius.
previous community. And I don't know if we have any plans at the moment to add an option in-game to allow you to recruit a survivor while you're in the middle of a game.
I mean, there's definitely, like, we've seen a lot of players build up that legacy pool, right? Like, you've
Yeah.
got, a cap of 50 or something like that now. And we actually had to build that UI. We didn't think anyone was going to reach that cap for a while. So we had to struggle to build the UI to let you, like, choose who you're going to sort of
Do you
let
guys
go
need
from your
help with
pool.
controls?
Yeah, Brian, can you go slice up some zombies here for
As
us?
soon
Yeah.
as Dan's safe,
I'm not.
I'll
I'm decidedly not.
But yeah,
I don't know where my
So-
car is. Everything's
everything's bad. You feel
everything's
like,
bad.
Oh, this is state of decay at its
This
finest.
seems like a perfect opportunity to
No,
show off.
no, sorry.
Don't show
Not the
that.
cheat
Sorry.
menu.
Sorry, it's a habit. Sorry.
I'm just gonna talk over these guys.
Jeffrey, if you're watching us, make sure you edit that out of the VOD.
Control Alt Delete. Control Z. Control Z. Full panic, guys.
Yeah. But anyway, we
I'm
see,
trying to
that, we
survive
see
here.
that there are a lot of people out
There we
there
go.
who are playing the legacy game like a lot and who are building up that community they want to bring with them. So
please have gas.
again, we can't make future-looking statements that are absolute promises, but we hear you, and I think it's obviously a place where we're investing. Is sort of like we added that legacy UI for managing the character roster. Clearly, there's more space to do more things there. Hopefully, we'll get to it sooner rather than later.
No. Oh, we've also got a question about dragon rounds for a shotgun, and I, as the explosives guy, would very much like it, and I think the code might actually be in place. The way we've got a whole lot of the messaging under the hood for communicating when someone takes damage definitely does convey whether or not that damage is related to fire. But I don't know if we've got any plans at the moment to actually set things on fire from a shotgun.
And now you're going to use your CQB.
Okay. Yeah, so you do have to unequip it.
The ammo question is more a limitation of caliber and ammo types
Ah,
than
yes.
it is capability.
Yeah, we do have a few limitations there because we can't actually give you alternate ammo types. We kind of do a little bit of a cheat. There's
Of
the
course it's the guy with the helmet.
super rare fire whirl grenade launcher, which will shoot a incendiary grenade, but it doesn't actually have special incendiary grenade ammo. It just takes a regular grenade and magically sets it on fire. If we could have multiple ammo types, then we would definitely. Aha!
Don't make me come back in here.
Thank you, Brant.
So this is a pretty cool CQB weapon we have here. It's the rescue knife, so it's got a lot of cool shapes and attachments to, cut a seat belt, break a window.
Mhm.
But it also works for opening up zombies.
Let's see.
So we got a question about have we ever discussed a custom difficulty mode with sliders? I know our modding community, which I guess I'm not supposed to talk about.
Never mind.
Never mind. But we definitely added a whole lot of things that we can tweak internally when we were working on Dread and Nightmare mode. And while it has been tossed around internally whether or not we're going to hypothetically do more with those kinds of sliders or maybe even expose them, there's a lot of cool ideas floating around the studio that, of course, may or may not actually ever make it into the game. So,
Yeah, I'll lean in on that one a little bit, and I'll say that playing your way is definitely sort of one of the themes of State of Decay 2. It's definitely about your choices, and some of them are in the game world, and some of them are in how you engage with the game. Like the whole Choose Your Own Apocalypse update was definitely about like how do you want to engage with us? How hard do you want the game to be? How challenging do you want the simulation to be? The trick with the sliders, though, is that it's very easy to create a combination that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like, it's really easy to create a situation that you don't realize you can't win in. So the whole point of the doing Choose Your Own Apocalypse was that we took all those like internal tuning variables and all of the preluding stuff and all of the sort of like zombie combat modifications and the durability modifications, and we sort of tuned them so we could actually test them. Creating sort of a wide open, like, at your own risk kind of thing is, it would require a lot of UI work just to expose all the stuff, and obviously that's work we would have to do, and we're not confident that we would be able to do it in a way that players can actually have fun with, as opposed to having a billion checkboxes and sliders, and you don't know what combinations work and don't.
Right.
So if we can find a way to make it happen in the long run, yeah, definitely. It's not on the short-term roadmap just because the sort of overwhelming complexity of like how would we ever possibly test it.
Right. Should we go, Dan? Do you think you've gotten all of the weapons out of the way? More or
So I
less?
just got this super compact pistol called the G26. It's like a pound, and so it's pretty lightweight and gives you the capability of a full-size pistol. So if you want to pack light, or if you have a primary weapon that's pretty big and heavy and cumbersome, you can throw it in your bag and not pay a whole lot of penalty to it.
Nice dodge.
And then I also have this this new police knife.
Attempt to show up.
Oh, it's an ugly fight.
Yeah,
It
it
is
is.
an ugly
It
fight.
is ugly. It's bad news.
Use some snacks.
So we got the police knife, and so we're trying to update across the board to fit the theme of all the stuff that we've done. World War II was just the guns, but we're trying to think of melee weapons and close quarters weapons that'll fit the theme. So trying to upgrade and expand on that for you guys. So there's a little baby G26.
Cool.
Well, that is I just want to call this question. Someone asked Brandt, is there a time period you would like to see State of Decay franchise go? Medieval, Western, etc.? The medieval zombie apocalypse sounds amazing. I had never thought about that before. Obviously, State of Decay 2 is set when it's set, which is sort of like present day-ish, maybe, 19, 20 years around today. People have cell phones, people have modern clothes, there's no weird shoulder pads and funky neon colors. But yeah, I don't know. State of Decay as a franchise could be interesting to go to new places, but State of Decay 2 is going to stay right where it is in time.
No, fall down, go boom. We are not doing State of Decay 3 Inquisition.
So I think.
So we've actually got a question about why do World War II traders show up more than regular gun traders, and this is actually a very interesting question. So one of the big problems that we have is trying to expose new content to players, because when we release a bunch of weapons, we want to make sure that the players can actually get to play with those new weapons. And that, of course, means that we need to figure out how to get those new weapons into people's hands. So the World War II trader shows up more often because we figured, at least for a while after we released the World War II pack, that we were going to show off more things. We're going to actually talk more about content exposure next week, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, I think we lost the stream again because...
Again.
Sorry, guys, it's a developer build.
Yeah.
It's got the cheats on, but it also means it's got some bugs.
It's got some crashes. All right. Oh.
Oh,
So now's a great
Good
time.
times.
Now's a great time to.
We're getting a lot of the behind the curtain today.
Yeah. Now's a great time to, I guess, relaunch it and just have some background gameplay. We've got about another 10 minutes.
Try to do a little more Q&A.
Yeah,
about,
just-
just
press the button.
that should do it.
Hopefully.
If
Or
you-
did that just
oh no, I
tab
think that
out?
should have done it.
Oh no.
What's this thing doing? All right, there we go. We've got the progress bar. We're good.
All right.
There was a rifle that we just played.
I hear all the questions about Trumbull Valley being a playable map outside of Heartland. I will say that we built Trumbull Valley in Heartland as a standalone side to the game because it was such a complicated thing that touched all the game systems. We wanted to see, like, all right, like, can we do NPC story? Can we do like recruitable, like, but well-designed, crafted characters? Because everything in State of Decay 2, we built the tooling for the game to be very randomized, very sort of every time through something new happens, you get the same, enclave will be different people. And so Heartland was a giant question mark. We hadn't never built the tools to build that kind of experience before.
Right.
So we sort of put it off to the side because we didn't want to break the main game and stop development for, 6 months while we worked on finishing Heartland. But as an aside, the cost of that is that it was built on the side, and it's not using all of the same exact code as the main game is using.
Right.
So I won't say never. I will say it is work. It's on the backlog. There's an infinite number of things we'd like to do in the game. I will say that we hope that players will be happy with what we're bringing them. We hear you about the need for a new map. We hear you about the desire to bring your community into Trumbull. We'll see where it goes. I can't make specific future promises.
We've also got a question about how aware are we of community requested features. We've actually got a bunch of really awesome people just constantly watching the community. We've got Megan, we've got Joe, also known as Jawafala, on our Discord, constantly paying attention and feeding us that information. How much of that we are working on is a matter of secret. But yeah, we're definitely paying attention and trying to figure out what we can bring to you as soon as we can, and what we are hoarding and reserve for big media drops. Development necessities.
I do have one thing I'm going to talk about that I don't think we've got planned to reveal in the stream. People are also talking about quality of life, right?
Oh, yes.
There's just issues in the game, like, okay, yeah, so you added more guns. Okay, yeah, so you added a new side story. Okay, yeah, so, but like, are you making the game better? And yeah, we're always making the game better. Like, we have, hundreds of bugs in every release that are opened during development because we find them. And then they get addressed by our engineers and by our content teams, and then we close them and we fix them. The big ones are in the patch notes. We don't have the patch notes for this next patch yet because we're still cooking it. But I will say one thing for sure. This is very specific, but one of the things that has always bothered a lot of our players is just the load times getting into and out of the game on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
And also the patch times, right? Like, it's a 7 to 8 gigabyte patch every time we update the game. That's kind of not great. So we have spent some engineering effort on that one. This next patch is going to be the same as all the other patches, really. But going forward, we're hoping to pay off some of that engineering work by severely reducing the load times and reducing the install size and the patch size of the game through the magic of, like, super fancy data compression that our engineers have been plumbing in. So you'll see improved load times and definitely way less sort of weird black screen stuttering on your way into the game immediately with the next release, and hopefully you'll see very small patch sizes coming soon.
Yeah, patches are actually like a real big topic. We know that a lot of our players are not living in urban centers or in suburban areas that are super close to data centers, and so don't have the ability to download 7 gigabytes worth of patches in 3 minutes, like I do with my crazy internet connection here in downtown Seattle. So making sure that you can actually get the content without breaking your bandwidth cap is actually super important.
We also have the police sniper.
Ooh.
It's got a new ACOG optic on the top, and then
nice.
it's got the shoots the 5.56. So it's a lot of those different guns you can use together, and they share a lot of the same ammo. So zapping zombies from a long distance.
Awesome. Nice.
I think that's most of the stuff that we've covered. Tell Brant to holler if there's something I'm missing.
So we've got a question about the deep darkness of night. So that was actually a fairly deliberate decision we made relatively early on to kind of make night scarier. But we've also heard a lot of feedback about it being a little bit too scary. So it's on our list of things to...
I'm even going to caveat that. I'm going to barge in here. Yeah, it's intended to be dark and scary because like stuff's going to jump out at you. One of the things we're discovering though, as we like talk to people who specifically reported like night's too dark, Our game does not do well with an uncalibrated television.
Oh yes, that's right. We were
Man.
having this conversation.
I have a TV at my desk right now, and I'm like, I can't play this game at night because I literally cannot see the world.
Yeah, when we
So
do our-
that was a surprise to us. So
Yeah.
we're going to see what we can do about sort of getting a little more balance in the colors. That sort of a wider range of player home setups are likely to show night correctly.
yeah,
That's some work we can do.
when we're doing our internal playtests, depending on how frequently we move our desks around in our office moves, determines whether or not I can actually play at night. If I am sitting facing a window, then the contrast is a little bit too much because I've got the most budget of monitors on my desk for testing on the Xbox. So it can get pretty hairy.
Yeah. But to all the people in chat who are just calling it like, don't change the darkness, it's perfect. We are not going to ruin the night for you, we promise.
Yeah.
We're just going to try and make it so that, we can deal with a little bit more range in people's home setups.
I may have misread that question. It was about fog. We are not actively talking about fog right now, and you might pay
Graphics is
attention
hard.
to future things. Graphics is really hard. We actually kind of cheat at night a little bit, and just kind of make everything dark enough that you just can't see it instead of adding a bunch of fog. You can see in kind of the distance shots out there that there is like a little bit of like environmental.
hazing, yeah.
It's hazing. It's atmospheric scattering, but we don't have any like billowing fog or clouds or anything like that, even at night.
The number one issue with it is that fog in every game kills frame rate because it's a volumetric effect, and it's
Yeah.
just hard.
Yeah, as soon as you start getting particles on top of particles as well, like that's the other way to do it, and it just kind of gets hairy.
I also saw some people asking earlier about snow and rain and weather effects.
Oh yeah.
It's actually a funny thing. I actually asked our audio team, like, hey, what if we just added, like rain? And the audio team was like, okay, do you want to pay us to re-record every single sound as wet? And then you want to spend all the memory to load all the wet sounds and then transition to wet to dry? And I was like, maybe? Can we cost it out? So that's definitely on the scales of balance of product versus business. I think it would be cool, but there's a lot of invisible work. It's not just like, oh, turn on the snow or oh, turn on the rain. Like we want to keep a certain level of fidelity in the product, and so there are challenges there.
So we've got a question about whether these new weapons are going to appear in Heartland. As far as I know, not at this time. We've got the Heartland experience is very kind of like tuned and self-contained. So I don't think much of the stuff that isn't just a core gameplay change is going to wind up showing up in Heartland. Unless we add these to the loot tables overall, but we're not going to like have the critical responder trader or whatever we use to deliver our new content just kind of show up at Jurassic Junction being like, hey, do you guys want a cop gun? So probably not.
Let's see. Question about Clio drops and Daybreak.
Oh yeah, prestige. Like, how do you get more prestige? And evaluating whether we're gonna add another way that isn't just go back into Daybreak. That is actually a topic of conversation. We think prestige is actually like a really cool way to expose new content to people, and if we can figure out how to integrate it into some of our future stuff without just tying it exclusively to Daybreak, then that'll be great. But we don't have any concrete plans at this time that we can talk about.
And again, just to reiterate, this is the critical update weapons pack you're looking at here with a bunch of first responder and sort of law enforcement themed weaponry, ranged, melee, close combat, everything. And it is coming out this month.
Yes. There is another thing that is coming out later. There are many things happening that I'm just trying to figure out. I'm trying to keep the release dates in my head and know whether or not I should, not have just
don't
said
spill
that.
the beans. Yeah,
Not said that.
No, so the product roadmap is not. It's not going to be as like, here is like the quarterly DLC drop that has all the cool stuff. We're going to do more incremental things, but that also means that we've got more stuff sort of in the pipe at all times. So it gets a little tricky for us to keep track of like, well, what's shipping when, and some of what ships when depends on like what's working and what's broken.
Right.
So we just have a lot of irons in the fire, and we're always taking them out and checking them, and when they're right, they're right. All right, I think we are coming up on 3 p.m.
We are coming up on 3 p.m. In fact, we have hit 3 p.m. So thank you to everyone for watching on all of our streaming platforms. It's really great having all of you stop by and throw all of this love our way, and also all of the questions and some comments that are slightly less than love, but we are still happy to have you.
We love that you care.
We love that you care.
Honestly.
The fact that you have that you care enough to show up and comment in our streams is fantastic, and we are definitely listening and definitely want to keep hearing from you guys. So thank you all for tuning in. A good
Pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, a pleasure to talk with all of you. Look for our critical response pack coming in some unannounced date later this month.
Soonish.
Soonish. So I've got this outro screen. Yes, I'm supposed to announce that one of our programmers, Jürgen, is going to be here next week talking about the rest of the critical response stuff. So,
All right.
I'm gonna press the stop streaming button